Good afternoon, and welcome to another redundant version of Diatribes from the voice of doom. Now here's your repugnant and regurgitating host, voice of doom. Alright, I know I said I was done, but I usually have addendums and clarifications I need to do on my last diatribe. I always think of things I should have said because it's always off the cuff, so it's not all written down and all neat and tidy. So I want to go over a few things and maybe comment a bit and clarify. First of all, a note to Nick. I've gotten a comment on my last diatribe, and I've gotten a comment on a few diatribes ago where it says one comment, and I know it's from you because you're the only one that comments. And when I go to newest comments first, nothing turns up. So your comments are obviously being canceled also. So my theory of me not actually being here holds true. I just want to let you know, if you want to go back and try to repost the comments that you had, I'll be more than happy to read them because I don't get anything else. And it makes me think that my life is a waste of time. But I want to kind of not change. I want to not be like the typical idiot wokester or almost everybody on the planet that wants to blame somebody else or something else for their problems and be a victim, because to be a victim is to be a celebrity. People feel sorry for you. My last diatribe, I was saying how I think YouTube is shadow banning me and that nobody's watching, and it's very perplexing that I would be doing diatribes for over 2.5 years, 400 videos, and nothing's taken hold at all. People that say they're going to subscribe don't. People that say they're going to watch don't. My closest friends and family don't watch. And I know it's hard to actually go on YouTube and watch my videos. It's very cumbersome for them, so I don't blame them for not watching. But I am not going to succumb to victimization by blaming others. I will admit, as a Buddhist, that I am the cause of my own problems. And I realize I'm boring. I'm not an interesting person. I really thought that my opinions and my analysis of current events and social mores were good, and I even called myself a genius and brilliant. But I realized that it's all just an ego trip. I am not interesting. If I was interesting, I would have 225k followers, and I would get 500 comments on every video I make, which would be cumbersome to me because I'd have to read every one of them, and I'd probably have to reply to every one of them, so that would take up most of my day. But it would make things more interesting than they are now. I'd probably get a lot of disagreement because I have theories such as how to run a correct electoral system, which have been lambasted by people because the way we have it is very good and we shouldn't change a thing. But I'm going to own up to the fact that I'm not an interesting person. I haven't promoted my videos. I haven't done anything to try to to spread or propagate my videos. I just assumed, in my arrogant way, that I would just make videos and then they'd catch on and eventually people would watch me. So I want to make that clear that I'm not going to blame YouTube or my viewers, or viewer, singular, for the fact that I have not gotten any traction with this. I don't know anything about politics, and I'm really stupid when it comes to social mores. I don't know anything about transgenderism. I shouldn't make comments. And that would be a relief to at least 3 or 4 people on this planet. Now, since I'm here, I'll make a few comments on the recent events, kind of expand on the irony of how life is in what used to be the U.S. vis-a-vis the D's, gaslighting, worrying so badly that Orangey will turn us into a dictatorship. He'll open concentration camps. He will use the government against his political opponents and anybody he doesn't like. All gaslighting. The D's have done exactly that for the last 3 years. They have allowed rioters and left-wing activists to do whatever the hell they want, anywhere they want. They have really put the screws on anyone who was involved in January 6th. Remember, back in 2021, anybody that was involved with that is doing time in prison, hard time. If you were anything close to being a leader, whether you were there or not, you are doing decades in prison. If you were an old lady that just happened to be caught up in the Capitol building on that day because you were staring at a statue of Benjamin Franklin and then a bunch of mobs come in, then you're in jail too. Everybody there is involved, is in jail. They pulled out all the stops, doing facial recognition, looking at records of who flew to D.C. on certain days, who was staying in D.C. on certain days, and tracked every one of them down. So the FBI is very diligent when they want to be. And when they don't want to be diligent, such as letting terrorists through the open border, letting Chinese nationals through the open border, letting terrorists, Iranians into the government, letting Chinese nationals into the government, a myriad of other things. They just don't have what it takes to investigate anything. Persecutions of Orangey. They'll find indictments till the end of time, because what they're doing is they're suspending his habeas corpus and saying, we're going after this guy, find everything you can. That's against his constitutional rights, but it doesn't matter. Now, if it happened on the other way around, like they say Orangey will do, if God forbid he gets a second term, that he will go after his political enemies and everybody else, then that's a danger to democracy. The Democrats, the dumb, devilish D's, are doing everything they can to undermine democracy. If they had their way, they would let Petri Dish be president until he breathes his final breath, because he's doing a damn fine job for the elitists and for the powers that be. Not doing such a great job for his buddies, the wokesters, because the wokesters are turning against him because he's a warmonger. Genocide Joe, they call him now. I love every minute of that. I hate to see atrocities, but if it leads to Petri dish being lambasted by his own constituency, then I'm very happy about that. Okay, so we see gaslighting everywhere as far as the D's. I think it was the succubus, the shrew, that said something about they should have re-education camps for people who think wrong by voting for Orangey. And then they say that Orangey would start a totalitarian regime where he would put everybody in concentration camps. So it's so obvious, nobody pays any attention to it, because unless the mainstream media says this is happening, it's not happening. So Fox and all these other guys are all commiserating and clutching their pearls because the mainstream media hasn't reported this, and so now it means it's not real. Real is real. How many times do I have to tell you? They have conspiracy theories now that the Israelis, were using Apache helicopters at that attack, and that when they got word that the parasailers were coming in and slicing and dicing up people, that they went in with Apaches and just willy-nilly, blew up the whole area indiscriminately, because they were caught off guard and they didn't know what to do. So it's already being gaslit to the point where the Israelis caused the whole catastrophe in the first place. And like I said before, information is not real anymore. You can't believe anything you see, but what you can believe is what's actually happening. And when billions of people start dying in mass, you can't spin it. People will see the garbage trucks rolling around the neighborhoods collecting corpses, and they won't be able to say it's not happening. So reality will be reality. You just can't escape it. The truth will out. Now, who's to blame? Whatever. They can spin that any way they want. Death is death. So that's the way that goes. And the last thing I wanted to comment on was, there's a few things, but The Godfather, Vito and Michael said, you have to think like your enemies think. So let's think like our enemies think. Xi Happiness is coming to San Francisco tomorrow to have a trade talk with the engines of industry from what used to be the United States and other countries. So they're having a trade summit in San Francisco. They're cleaning up San Francisco to make it look good for Xi Happiness. Just like in 1936, when Schicklgruber made Berlin look like a pristine utopia for 2 weeks during the Olympics. And all the people of Jewish persuasion were relieved that their persecution was being curtailed, and they thought all would be well because this Olympics will help, make Germany see reason that it's best to be part of the world community. After the last athlete left Berlin, they went right back to their old ways, only it was worse. San Francisco may be clean and swept up for Xi. Got to make things look nice for him, because we got to make ourselves look good. So that they can have trade talks. I mean, we should have had trade talks in 1939 with Schicklgruber. Maybe that would have caused him to not invade Poland. But we didn't do that, did we? All right. So that's ridiculous. Trade talks with Xi Happiness when there's fentanyl coming in, trying to kill every last person in what used to be this country. Spies, spy balloons, buying up land. Overt, aggressive actions in the South China Sea. And buzzing our planes and buzzing our ships. And we're going to have trade talks. So that's Petri dish for you. And the last thing, the demise of Petri dish. We got to get all our ducks in a row. Now, I grew up in Hawaii, as you well know, and I lived in a place called Hawaii Kai, which had all kinds of canals, because it used to be a swamp, and so they channeled the water into canals and marinas. It was a very nice neighborhood. We weren't rich, but we got lucky, found a condo. And I was pretty much in high school there and part of middle school. Now, early in the maybe late 60s, early 70s, a kid, a friend of mine in high school, got 2 ducks for a present, and he released those ducks into the marina. And by the time I moved there in 1972, there were ducks everywhere. And we tried our best, because we were teenagers and we were having our fun. We weren't abusing the ducks, but we tried to get them in a row. Let's try to see if we can get these ducks in a row and follow us. It's very hard to get your ducks in a row. Don't try it. Just impeach the stupid-ass idiot. The ducks can fall into line as the charges become more apparent and become obvious. But since the mainstream media will not want to say anything about it, then it's not really happening. So, we know that Petri dish has at least 1 more year in office. He will not be impeached. Forget that. Now, think like your enemies think. I'm Xi Happiness. I'm Vlad the Mad. I'm Kim Jong-un. I'm the Ayatollah that's a Palestinian, not a Persian. If I'm going to make a move, do I make a move this year while Petri dish is in office? Or do I wait and bide my time until another president may come into office, such as Orangey or even DeSantis? Now, I don't know if they know about American or what used to be American politics, but they might be thinking, wait a minute, Petri dish is a total blithering idiot, which we've got under our thumb because he's compromised, which we can blackmail any number of ways. And these other 2 are not particularly in our pocket. So when shall we make our move? Taking over Taiwan, obliterating Ukraine, dropping a nuke on Seoul, totally inflaming the Middle East. When do you think they're going to do it? I will say they will do it within the next 12 months. I know I kept saying by Christmas we'll be a nuclear wasteland, but I mean, if I was an enemy, if I was one of these people, I would say the time to move is now. And that's just common sense. I don't think you need to be a political genius or one of these brilliant touts that I see on Fox to realize that. So 2024 is coming, and it should be a year of utter annihilation, and that will be that. And the groundwork's already been laid. Armageddon has started. World War III started a year ago. It's just not obvious yet. So I'm going to do that last little kind of getting all the loose ends tied up. And I may or may not continue doing diatribes, but I might have to lay down the gauntlet and say if people don't start subscribing and start commenting soon, then forget it. It's only going to be me and Nick. I'll send him my videos, because he's the only one that's been my stalwart fan all these years. So anyway, Nick, I told you your comments aren't being posted for whatever reason, so if you want to re-comment, I'd appreciate it, because I'm getting nothing as usual. So I'm going to start another work week, and I'm looking forward to it, because I'm actually starting to catch up with myself. So I might be able to actually not be destitute for a week or 2. So, bye everybody. I may or may not see you again. Hasta la vista, baby.